Chapter 8. Here it is. In the book, I Thought It Was Just Me, But It Isn't, by Brene Brown. This chapter deals with practicing compassion in a culture of blame. So Brene says that we are in a culture obsessed with finding fault and assigning blame, and it shows up in lots of different ways. She gives us an example of you losing your patience with your child and blaming yourself and then thinking of yourself as a bad parent. And if that happens, you're more likely to get pulled further into shame. On the other hand, if you lose your patience with your child, you allow your body to experience shame. You hold yourself accountable for your behaviors. You're more likely to apologize and figure out how to move through shame so that you can be a better parent. And a lot of the times we use anger to protect us because shame causes a lot of pain. But regaining control is so important because shame leaves us feeling worthless. And so how do we regain control? I'll let you know the ways that I regain control is a lot of the times it's just putting my hands on my chest, or one on my chest, one on my abdomen, and allowing the breath to travel through me. Meditating, yoga, and shaking is one of the best ways to release tension from your body. We are the only animals, and I don't know if I've said this before already, but we are the only animals that don't shake after a confrontation or if we're scared. And yeah, it might feel a little bit silly, but just give it a try. I even shake my lips. I had a teacher that used to call them horse lips. Just letting that go, and even just letting that go, washing yourself of it. And then giving yourself that compassion that your body craves so much. Another way that we find blame is by labeling, stereotyping and labeling. And this limits our ability to build real connections because we build relationships on assumptions. And one of the most important things is to look at your own stereotypes about yourself. So for me, I'm Colombian, I'm Latina, and so whenever I would get angry, I would just blame it on my Latina part. That's just me, I'm fire, I'm Latina. But how does that serve me? How does that serve others? And, let me see if I find the page real quick. There's a researcher and educator, Mary Bricker Jenkins, and she says, ask yourself these 4 questions. Who am I? Who says? Who benefits from these labels? And if these labels don't benefit, what must change and how? And dealing with my anger is being a long journey. And I really feel like yoga, mindfulness, and the motion code were the key components in me being able to release my anger. I still have it. We all do. It's part of a human emotion. But now I can deal with it in a little bit more constructive way. Yes, sometimes I still kind of lose my temper, but I can feel my shame, and then I can see, why did that happen? So we were putting our Christmas decorations away, and there was a lot of discussion, and finally one of my favorite ornaments broke, and I ended up yelling at my kids for it and blaming them. But then I was able to go back and reflect, why did I do that? And it was because I wasn't filling my cup. I wasn't, for the past few days before that, I wasn't nurturing myself in the way that I need and deserve, so that I can be centered and grounded and not yell at my kids for breaking something that we can put together, sort of. So let's see what else was in this chapter. Gossiping. So exclusion, gossiping, excluding, backstabbing are also sources of shame. And so when you are gossiping with somebody else, it almost creates a bond with the other person. You have something to talk about. But then what happens when that gossip is about you? And yes, sometimes the gossip might seem innocent, but if you're on the receiving end of that gossip, it might not feel that innocent to you. And this, I'm still working on it, I'll be honest. There's times where I catch myself, I'm about to say something, and I'm like, and then sometimes I still say it. But remembering that we are all human, we are all connected. So if I say something to hurt somebody else, I'm really hurting myself. And I know this is like such a big, mysterious concept almost. I don't know if mysterious is it, if it's believable, but the more you're on this path, the more you realize that we are all connected. And Brene has this way of dealing with gossip for yourself. And so it's reflecting and redirecting. So when you find yourself in a place of gossip, where someone is about to gossip about someone, you could really say, I don't really know her. That would be a way to reflect. How much do we know about someone? Many times it forces people to realize that they don't know much about the person they're targeting, or at the very least, it points out that neither style of bad mouthing doesn't require facts. And so really knowing. And so when I talk to my daughters about gossiping, I'm like, did you see it with your own eyes? Did you hear it with your own ears? Then we don't need to continue that. And yeah, sometimes I feel that like tightening in my stomach, like this is uncomfortable, but in order to grow, there are times when we're gonna feel uncomfortable. And so it's about living with integrity. And so if we wanna live with integrity, if we wanna be authentic with ourselves, then we have to be authentic with others. And again, I'm not saying I don't do it, because I am human, I still make mistakes, but then coming back to that, oof, I just did that. And giving yourself that compassion, you made a mistake, how can you move on? How can you learn from this mistake? She also talks about reflecting and redirecting. I really don't know a lot about him or their marriage. I really like her. I wonder if there's something we can do for her. And this just says we don't know what's going on, and so we should lend support rather than gossip. I think that's a really good way of thinking of life. How can I be of service? And so I hope that my summary, there's still a few more goodies in here, but I hope that my summary of chapter 8 in the book, I thought it was just me, was of service to you. And I hope to see you for the next chapter. And if you've missed the other chapters, go back to my channel and check them out. All right, much love.